with questions, and I'm going to recognize the gentleman from the great state of Wisconsin, Mr. Tiffany.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Wilde, what has the response been both federally and states that you've worked in with faith-based organizations like yourself? Tell us the response that you get.
So one of the things that I know about corrections is that people tend to be very pragmatic. Does this work? And what we've seen is a large expansion of our programs. Our Warden Exchange program, like I said, we just had our largest cohort ever. 149 correctional leaders are going through it right now. Our Prison Fellowship Academies, our GROWs, our Angel Tree program have continued to expand. As I mentioned, we're in all 50 states, and so I'd say the response has been very good.
Where you find governments that are not as welcoming, what do you hear from them?
So we operate in states as diverse as Washington and Oregon to Texas, Florida, North Dakota, Nebraska, California, all of them. And as I said, they tend to be very pragmatic and ask the question, is it voluntary? The answer is yes. Does it work? It does. And so we're allowed to operate, and over time, we're able to really affect the prison culture, which we hear both from the staff as well as leadership.
Are there any changes needed by Congress to help you further your mission?
Thus far, we have not been able to operate our in-prison programs, our academies or our GROWs within the Bureau of Prisons. And we think that both of those programs, as well as our Warden Exchange program that helps assist correctional leaders at no cost to the state, can be a tremendous asset and a force multiplier to help solve some of these problems facing the Bureau.
Mr. Pertil, we heard earlier from the ranking member, do you, in regards to President Trump as failing, do you agree President Trump does not care about prisons? That's what we heard, is that he does not care about prisons by one of the members up here. Do you agree with that?
I do not, respectfully, sir, do not agree with that. We worked extremely closely with the first Trump administration on crafting the First Step Act, and I can tell you that they were very involved, very concerned. It would not have happened without Mr. Trump's personal leadership, so it simply doesn't comport with what I've experienced.
Do you think President Trump should continue with the status quo? Because that's what I'm hearing, is that he doesn't care about prisons. We should leave things as is. Do you think we should leave the status quo?
No, sir. I think there's much here, as this committee well knows, that there's much here that under the Bureau of Prisons that needs to be addressed. And I think it can be addressed in terms of what Mr. Trump tried to do in his first administration. And then I have every reason to believe he's going to try to continue in his second.
Give me something that's primary in your mind that could be a good change for federal prisons.
Well, I think to go back to to my testimony, I do think that focusing federal prisons are in a unique position in terms of corrections facilities across the country. I think they are best equipped to deal with some of the prisoners that are really most dangerous, most likely to commit new crimes, to recidivate. And that's really, a friend of mine at the Heritage Foundation, John Malcolm, likes to say, prison beds are some of the most expensive hotel rooms in the country. I want to reserve them for the people who are most dangerous to society. So I think doing all that we can to make sure that that is the population within the federal prisons, because they're just better equipped to deal with it, I think, than any other system in the country.
In my home state of Wisconsin, back when I was in the state legislature, we had a youth correctional facility that the ACLU came in and sued to prevent them, the staff, they restricted the staff from using certain measures that they had used for a long, long time. And the day that the judge accepted the ACLU's brief and said, we're going to accept the policies that you're suggesting for us, the young people in the correctional facility went on the roof of this facility and taunted the guards, saying, you can't touch us. Is it surprising to you that a couple years later that a staff youth counselor was killed in that facility?
Oh, in all honesty, sir, I couldn't address that. I don't know anything about the facts of the situation.
Have you seen instances where an organization like the ACLU has sued and prevented staff from being able to do their jobs with using the proper restraints? Have you seen that nationally?
I think that there's a lot of questions in that issue. I think that ensuring it's BOP's job to ensure both the safety and the safety of the staff as well as the inmates. And I think limiting them in order to be able to do that is always dangerous, undermining the respect that law enforcement should be given. I think leads to kind of the sense of, you know, the idea that people are taunting guards and things like that. I think that also undermines security. But I also think that we have to remember that when people are within our custody, we have to do everything to make sure that we're remembering to treat them as people and remembering that they still have rights while they're in there. So I think it's a very difficult challenge that BOP has
Your time has
to make sure that
expired.
they're balancing both of those sides.
Yeah, I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Next, we will hear from the